Can an app that was recently acquired for over $1 million be built using no-code tools? Well, that's what we're going to go over today. If you haven't heard of Wordle, then chances are you probably haven't scrolled through your Facebook feed recently, but Wordle is a word game that was recently acquired by the New York Times. And in this three-part video series, we're rebuilding Wordle on Bubble. This is Wordle. It's a pretty simple word game, but it has recently taken over the internet. You've probably seen people posting about it, but not giving away the answer for the day. And as you can see here, the New York Times recently bought Wordle for over $1 million. Now, before we go any further, if you are new around here, then you might not know that we at Coaching No Code Apps are pretty much sticklers for not cloning apps in order to build your own app. And we also don't usually publish a lot of content or tutorials on how to build things like games. But the reason why we're going through this today is number one, because Wordle is just really popular and we thought it would be fun. But number two, and most importantly, because we want to show you what's possible with no-code tools. In these videos, we're breaking down the entire development of Wordle, from the UI and UX to the database structure to the workflows and everything in between. And we really want to show you what's possible with no-code tools, what's possible with Bubble, and really how much you can leverage the tool for yourself. All right, it's that time. Hit the subscribe button below so you can be notified of the upcoming segments of this Wordle series, plus all the future videos that we release on no-code apps every single week. Let's get going with part number one.
In today's video, I am going to be cloning the super addicting word game Wordle, all without code, using the Bubble platform. I'm very excited about this. It's something I've been wanting to do for a little while now. So I thought today's the day I'm going to hit record and bring you guys along with me for the ride as I put this together all from scratch without code. It's an easy to play word game where you get 6 attempts to guess the 5-letter word of the day. And the game will tell you if your letters that you submit are in the right position or not, or if they're even in the word or not. It's also going to keep track of your streak since it is a different word every single day. Now, I did need to create some constraints for myself so that we keep this very efficient. The first thing is, in full transparency, I have thought ahead on a lot of the logic that needs to go into it for the functionality. There are many ways that you can accomplish this functionality, both just in the back end, all the workflows, and also with the UI on the front end. So I do have some notes that I will be referencing on my other screen here, so you'll see me look away a couple times. But this video is going to, I'm going to do this from scratch, blank page, from the ground up, so that we can do everything from the beginning here. The next constraint is I want to use as few plugins or third-party dependencies for anything as much as possible. I want this to be no code, right? So I can leverage all of Bubble's capabilities as is to put this together. I don't want to do any custom JavaScript or anything like that. There are going to be a couple of areas that are going to be a bit more on the advanced side, but those are the things that I had to think ahead on a little bit just to make sure this is a very clean build. So we'll get into that. And then I do want this to look as much as possible, as the real game, which I've got up right here. This is the actual game. So we're going to try to mimic this UI as much as possible with the color coding and all of that, some of the animations. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll see what happens from here. Now, if you're new around here, my name is Gabby Roman. I am the co-founder of Coaching No Code Apps, where we help non-technical entrepreneurs build no-code applications for their businesses. Whether that's a new business, a new app-based business, or a business that already exists and the application is there to help them scale and automate and streamline. So if you're interested in learning more about us and what we do and our resources, check out our website, coachingnocodeapps.com. There's a lot of great stuff there. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to make my video smaller here. And I've got 2 tabs open in my sample application here. The first one, this is going to be my primary canvas for the actual game. You can see I have a blank page. My page is just called Wordle Clone. And I've also got my backend workflows open because I am going to be working with this a little bit in order to check the word and check to see if the submission is correct or not. You know, I do want to protect the word of the day as much as possible. I don't really want to expose that word on the browser side of things. So I'm going to be sending the submissions, every guess, to the backend server side so that on the server side, we can see if it's correct or not, and then send back the results for the guess. So we'll get into that. All right, so let's start with the UI. I'm going to design this for a desktop design, but I am going to be using responsive settings so that it does look great on mobile as well. I don't know about you, but I usually play this game on mobile, but given that I have the desktop, you know, I'm building this on a computer and I've got the real game here just for my reference, I'm going to have it match this as much as possible and just check my responsive settings along the way. So first thing I'm going to do on this page is I'm going to set my preset width to full width so that it's a little bit wider, and we're going to start with some of our coloring. Now on the real game, I'm going to grab their exact same colors. I've got this handy dandy color picker tool. This is just a browser extension, and I'm going to take this color and make it the background of my page. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and give this a title, Wordle clone. That way it shows up in my browser tab when I'm previewing the page. And we're going to start with a couple of groups. Let's see, this page is going to be set to a column layout. That way everything just stacks vertically. You can see here, you know, the first item in the column is the header, this row, and then the second item is the grid, and then the keyboard is down below. By the way, that's another constraint that I wanted to give myself as well. I do want to make sure that I can type with a physical keyboard if I'm using, you know, a computer like this, or I can tap the keys on the on-screen keyboard, and either way I can submit my guess. Okay, so back to my page here. So I set this to a column layout. I'm going to add my first group here. This is going to be centered. We're going to make the group a row layout so that everything inside of the group stacks in a row. So horizontally, I'll make this centered again. I'm going to remove the fixed width so that it extends the full width of the page. And I don't need a minimum. I don't want to fit it to the content. And let's make this a minimum height. Let's see. That should be, yeah, I think that's good. We'll see if we need to adjust the height. I'm gonna roughly put it together and just kind of, you know, create the bones of this as quickly as I can, because I want to spend more of my time with the logic to submit the guess properly. And as I go through, I might be fine-tuning things, but I'm probably not going to make it pixel perfect, because otherwise I could probably spend a lot of time doing that. But we're going to see how close we can get it, just kind of going through this rather quickly here. All right, so this is my group. I'm going to call this, let me open up my elements tree. I'm going to call this group header. And inside of my group, we need a couple of icons. We need the name of the game and then more icons on this side. So let's add our first icon, which is what? It's our little menu bar. I'm also not going to program the icons themselves. Right now I'm more focused on the game. But I do want to have the icons here. Okay, so I believe this is called bars. Yes, and this is going to be in white. And I'm going to create another icon, and this is going to be our question mark. Let's do question mark like this. And I'm going to grab these two icons together and group them in a row on their own. And we'll make that group vertically centered. Let's see, and I want to create some spacing in between those icons. Let's do maybe 10 pixels. That looks pretty good. The header group, let's make it this space between container alignments. Let me see. Let's grab, I'm going to copy this group and put another group. Yes, that's what I want to happen. And I'm going to do the bars and the cog. So this one is the cog. That. This is the, what do we call this? Chart. This one's got like a vertical, it's got the axis bars there. This one doesn't, but that's close enough for me for now. I don't think chart, graph. I think with a different icon library, I could find the exact same one, but we'll leave this one as is. All right, so I've got my icons there. Now I do need a little bit of spacing on the side. This group, this is the container alignment that I was actually looking for, space around. Now, of course, I don't want them so far in, but I do need to add my text here for the title of the game. And let's move that to the center. This is centered as well. And this is going to be Wordle clone. All right, let's make this white and centered. And I want to change the width so that it's not fixed, just have it fit directly around the text there. Let's change the font a little bit. This needs to be a serif font, I believe. And let's see, let's do serif, droid. Ew, I don't like that. Hold on, let me make this bigger. Maybe a little bit bigger than that. This that seems a little bit. It's not as fun as the. Let's see. Let's look for another one. Closer. There's one that I like called Brie serif. I think this is going to be. I'll probably land on this one for now. Yes, maybe I'll make the letter spacing a little closer. Yeah, that one's close enough. New York Times, don't come after me. This is just for educational purposes only. All right, so let me make the font size a little bit bigger here. All right. Okay, so I still have spacing. I still have the icons are too far in. So I might change this to, let's see. If I push them out so that there's no space around, then that is better. But then I'll have to add a margin here to these groups. So I'll do like a 20 pixel margin. Yeah, this is much better. And then a 20 pixel margin on the right, like this. Okay, much, much better. So here we've got our header. Now I'm going to add a group. I'm going to add a group to the center just to kind of create my frame for the grid. We'll call this group grid, and we'll center this horizontally. And I'm just going to copy this and paste it for the keyboard, which is going to go down at the bottom. Keyboard. All right, so we'll leave the keyboard down there for now. Now there's some spacing between the header, the grid, and the keyboard. So I'm gonna, at the page level, add spacing between my rows, and let's do maybe 40 pixels. No, maybe a little bit more than that. 60 feels better. We'll leave it on that one for now. And this group, let's see, this is going to need to be, so I'm going to do a repeating group inside of this group. So I can set this group to be an align to parent just because the only element inside, there's only going to be one element inside of it. So it can be perfectly centered inside of my group. And let's check our responsive here real quick. So as I move down, right, so at mobile, these groups are too wide. So let's make this, let's make the group minimum 320, which is this one here. Let me actually make it 300. And I'll give the group some margin as well. Let's make it 20, 20, yeah, like that. Just a little bit of breathing room on the sides. Could probably give it a little bit more, but we'll leave it there for now. All right, so that's group grid, and I'll do the same thing for the keyboard. We'll make this, actually think the keyboard's going to need to be a column because I'm going to do separate groups for each line in the keyboard because the keyboard has different number of items in it. So I'm thinking one row, one second row, third row. So there's going to be a column structure. I'm going to pin that one there because I keep clicking over to it and I'm not ready for that one yet. All right, so the keyboard is also going to be minimum 300 pixels wide, and we'll also give it margin of 20 to the left and the right, and it needs to be centered like this. All right, so we've got some matching there. All right, so for the responsive, it's looking much better. Looks like once we're on mobile, the margins of the icons are a little bit too much. I'd probably bring them out. We can create some conditions for that too. I'm going to leave it for now, but if, you know, for example, if the page width is less than 400, I might take down the margins of the icons to maybe 10 pixels instead of 20. Okay. Ooh, and we've got, looks like this is super wide because I don't have a max now on my groups. Let's max it out at, I don't know, 600? 600 feels okay for now. 600 pixels for these groups. Okay, now that way they're not so wide. Okay, now inside of the grid, this is where I have some notes here. I'm going to need several layers of things. This is going to be a repeating group of guesses. Every row in the repeating group is going to be a different guess. And then inside of that repeating group, we're going to have, you know, each cell is going to represent a letter. So the first thing is I need to just generate 6 rows no matter what. Even if I haven't guessed anything, they always need to be present. You see here when I am on this page, I have those squares already there. So I'm going to be using, this is the only, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the only non-bubble plugin that I'm going to work with. It's the Toolbox plugin. It is here, and it contains this list of numbers element, which just generates a list of numbers for me. So I'm going to add, and that'll be my data source. So I'll add this to the page, and let's actually put that at the end of the page. So it's down at the bottom. It's an invisible element, but it does need to exist on the page. And we'll call this, or I will generate numbers 1 through 6, incrementing by 1. And that is going to be my data source of my repeating group, which I'll add to this group here. So this is going to be a list of numbers. My data source is the list of numbers list. This is a fixed number of rows, 6 rows, 1 column. I'm not going to do any separators because I'm going to have the elements inside basically be responsible for creating the boundaries of the little squares. So no separators for that repeating group. And let's see here, this is going to be centered in my group. The repeating group itself, I believe, is also going to be aligned to parent because I'm going to have one element inside of the cell, which is going to be another group. Yeah, I might change that if I'm confusing myself. All right, we need to make this a lot taller here. So I don't think I need a minimum height, and I don't want to fit to content. I just want it to fit inside of the group. So there we go there. And the width I'm also going to get rid of, just fully expanding to the width of my group. So now we don't have any spacing around the repeating group for the group, which is fine. I don't need that. My group is really just there to be a container on my page. So we are working here, group grid, and I always like to rename my repeating groups. Let's call it repeating group guesses, right? So each row represents a different guess. Now, inside of that repeating group, I'm going to have another group, because inside of the repeating group, I need to reference 2 things. The guess number, so guess number 1, guess number 2, and the actual guess that was submitted by the user. So there's going to be 2 different data sources. So I need elements inside of my cell to help me reference those things. So this group is going to be just the number. This is also aligned to parent, centered, no minimums, fully expanding to the cell, and the type of content here is just going to pull from the cell, current cell's number. I need this here because I don't want to lose the reference. I don't want to lose access to the current cell's number for my other elements that are about to go inside of this. All right, so this is group number. I think that's all good. Okay, now what do I need? Let's see. Now I need another group. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to copy this, paste this inside. We see another group there, and this is going to be the actual guess. And the data source I don't have yet. I will be generating with my API workflow. So I'm going to clear this out for now and set this to empty for now. But this group needs to be nested inside of my group number. So I'm just going to pull it in that way via the elements tree. Now that all of my settings are all good to go, this is also centered. Now, inside of this group, I'm going to have another repeating group. And this is now going to be each square for the letters in the guess. Okay, so repeating group here. So this is going to be, first of all, centered in the group. This is going to be, I'm going to name it RG letters. I believe this also needs to be a list of numbers. Let me see. I think it does need to be a list of numbers. Yes, because I need to generate, again, no matter what, even before guessing, 5 squares. It's a 5-letter word. So this is number. Data source is going to come from I can just reuse my list of numbers. Because this repeating group is fixed, it's, even if my list of numbers down here is generating technically 6 numbers, this repeating group is just going to cut it off at 5 numbers, 1 through 5, right? 5-letter words. So 5 columns, 1 row. So the first repeating group was 6 rows, 1 column. This repeating group is 1 row, 5 columns, because we're going to see that in each of our parent rows. All right. This layout is going to be not fixed. We're going to remove all of the fixed settings so that it fully expands. So this repeating group, actually, I might make the group grid a little bit more narrow. But all of these inner elements, all of these here, there's a lot of nesting going on. They're just going to fully expand to the row. I don't need them to be different sizes. I also don't want this repeating group to have any separators, so I'll remove that. Okay, so if I preview this page from here to see what we get, we'll probably not see any boundaries because I turned off all the separators unless my repeating groups have some borders that I'm not aware of. Let's take a look. All right, so there's the top. And ooh, I need to add that bottom border, just like we see down here. I'll add that in a second here. So we don't see my grid. Now, I need to add a group inside of the most inner repeating group to create the square. And that is also where the text will live to display the actual letter. So we'll add a group container here. And actually, this is where I can control the sizing of the overall grid. So this will be group letter. This is an individual letter. Again, I don't have a data source for this quite yet because it's going to need to pull from my backend workflow, but we can center this. So this repeating group letters is going to be aligned to parent as well. That way this group can be fully centered, and we'll give it a border style, solid border, 1 pixel width. Let's see, let's grab these colors here from the actual game. See if I can grab that one. This, I'm assuming this is the same color for that bottom border on the header, so I'll add that there as well. So there's that. Now I think there's a little bit of roundness, maybe 1. We'll do 1 on roundness. We'll check it out. And then I'm also going to do the bottom border of this group header. I'm going to remove that style, set each border independently, give it a bottom border. This, all right, let's see where we're at here. Yeah, there's our bottom border, and I still don't have, oh, it's because I don't have my data sources for my repeating groups. Let me see if I can just generate them real quick here. We do, I should be seeing, let's see, let's put a border around this repeating group real quick here. I should be seeing something. Okay, there's that. And this repeating group here, let me put a border around that one as well. Yeah, there's the repeating group, borders around that. And so why is this one not showing? Oh, because I did not put the right color. Where did I put that color? Okay, let me remove this one, and I'm also going to remove, the grid doesn't have a border, right? No, it doesn't. Okay, so let's remove the color from my grid. I think I must have done it there. Group number, group guess, RG letters. Okay. There we go. Okay, there we go. There are our squares. So they're super wide. Let's bring them closer together now. So I'm going to change this repeating group to have a max width, or maybe I'll make the repeating group a fixed width of, let's say, 300. Let's check here. Yeah, I mean, it's got to fit inside the mobile view. So we could do 300. We'll stick with 300 for now. I feel like they need to be a little bit taller though. Yeah, they need to be a little bit bigger. So let's make the group grid. The group grid doesn't need to have a minimum height, but it is fitting to content. So let's see what's our most fixed thing. I guess the repeating group letters is the most fixed thing. I could set the height of, or maybe I can have it all react to the group inside here, this group. So if this, set this to align to parent as well, is a square where it's like 60 by 60, and make this fixed like that. Now we've got a little bit more height, and I'll allow the repeating group around that to just fit to width and fit to height like that. And see here, there's our letter. What else? I feel like it still needs to be, no, I think that's good. But I do need a little bit of spacing around this group letter. So maybe we do maybe 10 around. I don't think it's that wide. No, it's a lot more narrow than that. Let's do 5 pixels all the way around. All right, let's preview this here. Okay, that's looking a lot better. Look, I'm toggling between the real game, this is my game, real game, my game. Looks like the color of the grid, the border around this is maybe a bit thicker, right? Because mine's a bit too thin. We're certainly getting close. Okay, so this one here is going to be, let's do 2, like that. Yeah, that feels a lot better. Very cool. So their game, I think it's even more narrow between, I'm talking about the gutters. Now I'm getting very picky. So I'm going to make that one last change and then I'm going to move on. Okay. So this group letter, let's see here. So let's do, I don't know, 3. Let's try that. And then I'll leave it alone. Yeah, I could spend probably a lot of time just making this pixel perfect. All right, I think that's close enough. Okay, so we've got kind of the framework here of our grid. It's going to be super dynamic. I don't, the only thing that I really need to design and create conditions around is this one cell. Oh, I don't even have a text element inside of this group. That's good. We have to display the actual letter, of course. So let's do just an A for now, and make this centered and make this white like this. Might need to make it a bit more bigger font. I'm just going to put an A in there just so that I can see it. And I don't want this. I always like for these texts to just perfectly fit around the content for the most part. There we go. And maybe make it a bit bigger. Let's go 30. Yeah, I think that's good for right now. All right. So what I was saying is I only need to design this one group here, my group letter for the background color. When we change it to yellow or green, or that I think is like a lighter gray, indicating that it's not even in the word. And that way it just dynamically will use logic to have that apply to all of the letters in that guess, and then make sure that we're looking at the right guess. Okay, so we've got our grid. Things are looking pretty good there. Now let's design the keyboard. So keyboard, I also want to make more, I don't want to create a separate text element for literally each letter. I think I can make it a bit more dynamic if I have my alphabet in a custom state and then generate the keyboard using repeating groups from there. So I will start with my custom state on the page. I'm going to have a custom state called, let's just call it alphabet. This is going to be a list of texts, That way my repeating group can be one cell per text. And when the page is loaded, I need to set up that alphabet immediately. So we'll set a state of my alphabet. Let's see, this is the Wordle clone alphabet. And let's see here. If I do, I don't really want to do like A and then appending anything. Hold on, let me think about this. Oh no, I have a better idea. Okay, I'm going to change this custom state to a single text, and then in my repeating group, I'll split it at the repeating group level. Yes, okay, because now with the single text, I can do A, comma, B, comma, C, right? I can create my whole alphabet there. Oh, and yes. Okay, so I'm gonna do it in order of the actual QWERTY keyboard, so that it's easier for me to just display things in order with my repeating group. So this shouldn't take me too long. Great. Okay, there's my whole alphabet, and I comma separated it, but this value is technically one text value. In the repeating group, I'm going to split it up. Bubble has a cool split by function, so I'll split by the comma, and that will generate my list of texts. I did it this way just to make the custom state easier to put together. I could have technically like done take A, then at, plus item B, plus item C, plus items. No, this is a lot cleaner. Okay, so now that I have my data source, we're going to do a couple of repeating groups here. So repeating group, like this. And so I am going to do 3. Let's see, this group needs to be a column. I already set that there. I'm going to do 3 rows. So it's going to be 3 repeating groups stacked on each other. I think I had a note on this. Yeah, 3 repeating groups stacked on each other. Okay, so this is, let's say this is RG1. And this is going to be, let's see, this is centered, and the repeating group itself is going to be a row because we're going to have each letter in the keyboard left to right. This only needs to be 1 row and multiple columns. How many columns? So the top line is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we'll do 10 columns here. And the content is going to be my list of letters from my alphabet. So this is going to be a list of text. And here I'm going to pull from the custom state, Wordle clones alphabet, and split by the comma. So now I have my list of text. And because I wrote it in order, the first 10 columns are going to be the first, it's going to be the first line of the keyboard. So I don't think I need to manipulate this any further here. Okay, and so inside, I'll design the first row, and then I should be able to copy and paste because most of the settings will be the same for the second row. So I'll do another group here, and this is going to be our group letter, and I'll number it letter number 1. No, just group letter. Let's call it group key. I don't want to confuse it with my letters that are in the guesses above. Okay, so this layout is going to also be aligned to parent, centered, everything is centered. Actually, this repeating group doesn't need to be a row. This repeating group can be an aligned to parent. And then this one, the group inside is going to be centered. I don't need any fixed width. I'll do the same thing as I did above by creating some margins around so that there's spacing between each of my keys. And this group is going to have a background color. Let's see what it is. I'm going to grab it from here. This gray, this lighter gray color. Okay, and a flat color like that. And I think there's some roundness. It's a little bit more roundness, maybe 3. Like that. And we do need to create some spacing. So let's do, let's see. Yeah, it's about the same as the grid above. So what did I do? 3, I think. Let's see. 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, Cool, looking like keys now. I see that spacer is still there on the repeating groups. Let me make sure I remove those dashes. I don't want to see that. And inside, I need to display, let me grab this same text here. I'm going to display my key, and here I can display, I already have the data source for this one because the repeating group is a list of text. The group inside needs to pull in that same text for that cell. So this is the current cell's text, right? The first cell will be Q, the second cell will be W. So this, I can go ahead and say, show the parent group's text. It's overlapping because the expression is, it's longer than the little square that I have there. But I can do a, let's see. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I can do about that, just for the looking at it in the editor. Okay, let's see where we're at here. So these are going to all show A's for now, but we can see our first line in the keyboard, which looks kind of, oh, I need to make these capital letters. And let's see, and they also need to be a little bit smaller, the letters themselves. Yes, okay, so let me update I could convert it to uppercase, but it doesn't take very long for me to just redo this in all caps. So here we go. Okay, now I don't have to do like an uppercase conversion. I want to make this a little bit smaller. This letter here, where is it? Nope, not that one. Here's my keyboard. There's my repeating group, first row. This is my group key. And this text is going to be, let's say 20, maybe? Oh, I think maybe even a bit smaller than that. 18? Let's try it out. I feel like half of this video is going to be about setting up the UI, and then the other half is going to be about just the logic, because we've got some work to do here with the workflows and stuff for checking the guesses. Okay, I think this is, oh, they still need to be a little bit smaller. Okay, I'm going to change the font size one more time, and then I'll move on. All right, let's do 14. Yeah, I think that's going to be maybe closer. Okay, so now let's add the other lines in here. So I've got this repeating group, and I'll copy this, paste this here. Now this one, I need to manipulate my alphabet. So I want to start on item number 11, right? Because the first row went, oops, let's see, items from 11. That's what I meant to do. And then I'm going to cut this off because it's not 10, I think it's 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'll go items from number 11 and then items until 9. Or I could just, oh, I don't need to do an items until. It didn't even say for me. Items from 11, and I'll change the columns to 9. Ooh, but I don't want the widths to change. No. I'm going to leave it on 10 columns and cut it off items until 9. What I meant to do. Yeah. Okay, so this is repeating group 2. And I want to make sure that this is centered so that it does, it stays centered and we have a little bit of a gap on the left and right. So let's check it out. Ah, did not work the way that I thought it was going to. Why not? Is it not centered inside of, maybe it's not centered inside of my group keyboard, but are these the right letters? Yes, ASDF. Yes, good. Okay, this is group keyboard. This is centered. This is a column. It's horizontally centered on the page. These are aligned to parent. They're horizontally centered there. This is horizontally centered. Okay, I think I need to mess with, I think I do need to, I have to force it to be 9 columns. Let's see, let's just change this to 9. But it's going to be thicker. Oh, I guess I could fix the, okay, I can fix the group. That makes more sense. Yeah, if I fix it, see how they're thicker here, or they're wider. So if I fix the group size, then that should be good. All right, so this group key, yeah, because they're not fixed. Let me make this, I don't know, 50? No, that's too big. 30? 30 feels a little narrow. Let's see. Yeah, it's a little narrow. Let's do 40. Okay, we'll start with 40, and then this one should also be fixed to 40. Yes, okay, yeah. The repeating groups are fixed. This is fixed. Oh, the repeating groups should not be fixed. They should be fitting around the content, like this. Yep. There we go. Now we have it. Okay, and we have some spacing between, I assume. Yes, and I think I did that with the margins around the groups. Cool. Great, 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 great. Okay, next line. This is going to be, so this one I think I need to do in a group because I'm going to have my last line of letters, but I also need to have two extra things that are not a part of my alphabet, my enter key and the backspace key. So I will start by copying this one. So this second line, just by the way, let's go back to the data source real quick. Because I'm doing 9 columns, I don't think I need to do items until anymore. It's just going to cut off at 9. And then this one is going to be, we'll say, where am I at? Hold on, here. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So from 20 to 26, right? That's how many letters in the alphabet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. Okay. So this is items from 20. And that is, well, that's seven characters. So we'll do 7 columns. Yeah, and now we have space on the left and the right to add in our enter and backspace key. So I'm going to create a group here first. This is our line 3, and I will group this in a row container so that I can add, let's add this group here. Group key. Let me see if I can select the first parent and paste that there. Okay, so this is, all right, if we look at our elements tree, this group is group row 3. Oopsies. Row 3. This is the repeating group of letters, but then we have our, this is for the group enter. I'll start there, and I'll move that to the front of the group, so it's on the very left side. And this doesn't need a data source. It's just going to be its own thing. The height, let's see, this text is going to display enter. I'll just literally type that in there. And the height should not fit to content. Wait, that's the text. I need the group. The group's height should not fit to content. Why is it moving around? Why, it is fitting to content for some reason. Group enter. I guess maybe I need to fix all of these heights. I feel like I'm getting lost on that one. So I'm just going to go ahead and fix all the heights so that they're the same. So let's fix it to, let's see what we need to do. 40, nope, 60. Okay, we'll do 60 fixed height on all of them. Here, and then also here. Like that, okay. This group key is 60. Oh, I don't have the fixed height on this one. That's why. There we go. Okay, somehow I missed doing the fixed height on this one. Let's do fixed height instead of a minimum. Fixed, fixed, fixed. Enter. Okay, we're doing it. All right, so I'm going to copy and paste this group. Here, I moved it inside the repeating group. I didn't mean to do that. Let's do it outside. All right, so this next group, which should be at the end, is going to be my backspace key. I'll call it delete. Okay, and I don't need a text in here. I want an icon. Oh, my text is still there. All right, this icon is going to be the backspace. Let's see, delete, back, delete. Let's see, where is that? Remove, maybe? Remove, clear, X. Oh, this icon has to be here. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, I'm going to use a different icon library for this because I don't want to substitute this for something that doesn't look like the backspace key on your keyboard. All right, so I believe I have in my app material icon. Oh no, I don't. Let's see. Let me search for icon. All right, I have an Ionic icon a library installed here. So this is also a Bubble plugin. It's free and it works really well for mobile. I actually think that this icon library is nicer looking. You can see that they're a bit thinner, they're a bit more modern. The other ones, the built-in bubble icons are a bit more bubbly, like actual like rounder, they're more cloud-like. So I think these are cleaner anyway. So let's see if we can replace all of our icons with this library just for consistency. So there we go. That's the one I'm looking for. I think it's the outline one. Yeah. So here's our backspace and let's give it a fixed, start with 30 by 30. That looks a little bit big, maybe 25 by 25. And this will be centered. And we're going to do some, what was the width of this? This was fitting the width to content, but the enter key was just naturally bigger. So I'm assuming they're about the same size. So I'm actually going to fix the width of the enter group as well. Let's see, 40, maybe 70. Yeah, let's try 70 for now. And then this one will also be 70, so they match. It feels really big. Let's do 60. Okay. All right. So let me swap out my icons. Actually, I'm not going to take the time to do that right now. We might swap them out towards the end, but so I'm using two different icon libraries, one for all the stuff in the header and then one for the backspace key. I'm trying to move through this efficiently. All right, now we've got our keyboard. That's looking good. Let's go to the original. Here's this one. Let me scroll up on the page. And I'll actually address that page scroll here. So here, original, mine, pretty close. So the page itself, so this group here for the keyboard, I'm gonna remove the minimum height so that it fits perfectly around the keyboard. And also the page, let's see, there shouldn't be any extra spacing, minimum height. Yeah, we're definitely past 600 pixels. This list of numbers plugin, I think I'm going to move that inside of my grid group so that it's not creating all this extra space in the page like this right there. And I'll move that down to the bottom. Let's see, down to the bottom there. Oh, actually, maybe I'll move it inside of the keyboard group. Yes, like that. Okay, so now I should have no extra space at the bottom below my keyboard. I can also, there we go. So see how my page is not scrolling anymore? Everything is perfectly fixed, just like their game is. Original, mine. Original, mine. I'm going to set up a quick condition so that we don't see that enter key and backspace key when the page is still loading. So here on this group, I'm going to make this hidden by default and add a condition so that only when I have a data source in my, let's say the repeating group 3, repeating group's list of text count is greater than 0, then I will make this visible. So I'll copy that condition, do the same thing here, just so that we don't see those things coming up ahead of time. We'll wait until the rest of the alphabet and the repeating groups generate. So let's test that out. Coffee break. The backspace key, why? Because I probably didn't make it hidden by default. There we go. So we'll try one more time. Okay, cool. That works for me. All right, now we have to program our keyboard. And clicking on each of these keys, we'll know which letter they selected. So so this is group key, and I do need to number these. Let's say group key 1 for line 1 of the keyboard, group key 2, and then this is going to be group key 3, right? So I have 3 elements to represent my whole alphabet. I think in theory I could have done this with one repeating group, but because of the layout of the keyboard, I really wanted to have more control over, the first line is this many letters, the second line is this many, the third line has these other 2 things, the enter key and the backspace. So I think it was just actually easier to do it in 3 separate repeating groups like that. And I don't mind programming 3 separate groups to do basically the same thing. So this group, so let's start with key 1. When this is clicked, we're going to keep track of what was selected and build out a guess. And I believe, so this is one area where I did have a note for myself. I'm going to be using a custom state to build out my guess. So on the page, let's go to, I have a custom state already for the alphabet. So I'm going to create a new state for, we'll call it current guess. And this is going to be a single text as well. I don't want to do separate letters because Bubble won't, if there's a letter with if there's a word with a double letter, so like the word hello, HELLO, if you do a list of text, Bubble's going to remove that duplicate L. It won't retain the duplicate letter. So we want to make sure that the guess is a single text value. That way I can have, duplicate letters as much as I want. So that's a custom state. And here we will set that state when I click on this key, and I'll set up current guess is going to be Wordle clones current guess, and then I'm going to append my letter. So the current cell's text, right? If I click on that Q, it's going to append Q. And I'm going to do this for all 3 keys because I have 3 different lines, key 2 and key 3. And this is a really good use case for a custom event. So let's actually do that. I'm going to create a new custom event because I might need to make changes as I go through each key, and I don't want to do this 3 times every single time. So we'll say keyboard key is going to be the name of my custom event, and I'm going to take this action and put it in the custom event instead. And the custom event needs to accept a letter. So we'll say text. So when we set the state, we're going to append now the current workflow text. So from key 1, I'm going to trigger that custom event keyboard key, and I'm going to pass the current cell's text. And now I can just trigger the same event to that custom event. And this custom event's likely going to be used as well when I work with a physical keyboard. So right now I'm just talking about the on-screen keyboard. So they all funnel into this same workflow. Okay, so let's test that out real quick. I don't think I'll be able to, let's see, let me think for a second. No, I probably can. All right, so if I take, this is going to show up in all of my guesses, so I'll handle that when we get to our other data sources. But in this text, if I display the Wordle clones current guess item number, hold on, current guess is a single text. So I need to split this word so that I have a list of letters. This is where I need to split the word using regular expressions. It's just regular expression. It's creating a pattern to find where you say, I have a pattern and I want to take a string and match the pattern, find a match for that pattern in that string. So for example, I have like a sentence and my pattern says, okay, go find me all of the capital letters. And so you can extract with regular expression all of the capital letters from a sentence, or go find me all of the the numerical digits in some string of characters, or find me all of the characters in between quotes. You can create regular expressions, really powerful, piece of functionality that you can leverage here. So what I want to do is take a word, right, with no delimiter. It's just a word, and split it up so that I can now have a list of text. So I'm going to do that with extract with regular expression. I cannot use the split by function because there's nothing to split the word by. The letters are just side by side. So we're going to use extract with regular expression. And the pattern in this case is just a period, which means that I just want every single character in my string. But now with this extraction, Bubble will actually change the result of this to a list of text. So for the single text element that I have here in my square, I want to take the current guess and split it up into individual text, and then go to item number, whatever cell number I'm in right now. And this is where, let's see, parent groups thing, where am I? Let me go back to my grid. I just need to keep track of my group letter. This should be a number data source, pulling from the current cell's number. Remember the repeating group going from left to right, it's a list of numbers. And it's 5 numbers. Cell 1 is number 1, cell 2 is number 2, right? Because it's position 1, position 2 of the letters in the word. And this group is going to help me remember what cell number I'm in. So I want to take that list of letters and only show, I don't want items until, I want item number, sorry. Item number, parent group's number. So if the parent group, if I'm sitting in cell number 3, I want the 3rd letter in my word. All right, let's try it out. I've programmed the on-screen keyboard to set the state and append the letter to my guess. And we should be seeing those letters in my grid up above. Now, this is going to show up in all of the guesses because I haven't specified which guess they should only be displayed in. So if I say, H-E-L-L-O, hello, there we go. Awesome. That's looking good. So I can keep tapping letters here, but we don't have enough spaces, so it's not going to show those. Great. Now let's program the enter key. Well, no, not the enter key quite yet. That's going to have to trigger some other workflows. Let's do the backspace key. So here, when I click on the delete key, let's see, we want to remove the last letter from our word. So let's see, I need to know how many letters are in the word, first of all, like at that point in time, and then truncate the word to that point. So I'm going to use another custom state here. Let's do, I'm going to call this truncate 2. This is just a number. And I think that's it. Okay, so when I click on delete, I'm going to set that state first. Set the state of Wordle clone truncate 2 to whatever the current number of characters is minus 1. Right? If I have 4 letters and I want to remove that 4th one, I'm going to calculate how many letters there are in the word first. So let's go to Wordle clones current guess number of characters, but then subtract 1 because I want to update my word to be the first 3 letters. So I'm truncating to 3. If I have 4 letters in the word, I want to truncate to 3 so that it keeps the first 3 letters. So I need to do this dynamically because they could be hitting backspace when they click on 1 letter, 3 letters, 5 letters. So that's the first state. And then once that's set, then I can set the next state, which is an updated guess. So I'll take the current guess and then truncate to my calculated truncate number. So Wordle clones truncate 2. So I usually name things quite literally, but this is Bubble's function, truncated to. This is the name of my custom state, which is a number. So, all right, let's test that out. So I'm going to use what is apparently mathematically the best word to start with, so they say on the internet, the word crane here. All right, and if I hit delete, 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 ooh. Why are we not deleting the first one? Probably because the truncate 2 is at 0 when you have one item. So we need to handle that. Let's see. So here, if we'll do this only when the Wordle clones truncate 2 is greater than 0. But then I'll have an alternate here. If the truncate 2 is 0, then we just need to clear the guess. We're done, right? There's only 1 letter, so there's nothing to manipulate there. We just clear out the guess. So let's try that out. Coffee break. Crane C-R-A-R. Perfect. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so we have our on-screen keyboard.
That wraps up this segment of our Wordle build. If you found this video useful, we'd love for you to hit the like button below. It really helps us out. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you can be updated when the next videos come out. Again, we hope you found this helpful, and we'll see you in the next part.